again on first down. Fires wide. Juan Daniels, touchdown, Georgia.
This is your favorite receiver, Juan Daniels, and you're listening to the DGD Podcast with my man, Robert Reynolds. Go Dogs!
Welcome back to this episode of the DGD Podcast. As always, your host, the NCDGD himself, Robert Reynolds, got Mr. Juan Daniels and fellow guest and friend KTG13. Guys, as you can tell, got the chain on. My goodness. Sean Washington for the 2022 class out of Warren Easton in Louisiana. And McElderry, offensive lineman from Alabama. Two commits, both on in the trenches. Georgia's shoring up those lines, man, offensive and defensive. What are y'all's thoughts, first off, on the two commitments? Obviously, welcome to Dog Nation. What are your thoughts on those? We'll go ahead and jump right into this real fast. What are y'all's thoughts overall on the recent commits?
Well, I'll tell you what, I haven't watched the offensive lineman's highlight tape, but Sean Washington is Devontae Wyatt. He plays just like Devontae Wyatt, very quick off his feet. Only a 3-star, which so was Devontae Wyatt. But, you know, Kirby always finds the gems, and that was the first thing that came to my mind with Sean Washington was Devontae Wyatt. So I'm really excited to have him aboard.
I'm telling you right now, watch that ratings bump. Watch that rank skyrocket. Just calling it out there. Juan, what say you about these commits, my man?
Man, the rich just keeps getting richer. I mean, you know what a great turnaround that Kirby just had, and I don't think it's going to stop right there. Obviously, having the top recruiting class, that says a lot. This game this weekend is really going to just kind of send it over the top. So if you think that we've had some great commits now, wait till we go out here and beat on Alabama a little bit, and then it's gonna really just kind of, the doors are gonna just blow wide open.
I'm just gonna say this. Juan said beating up on Bama. Isn't that just interesting to hear? Just interesting to hear.
It's gonna happen too. I'm just letting y'all know.
It's crazy to believe this, but it's been since I want to say 2015 or something like that where Bama's been a spreaded underdog. And looking at this season, which we're going to talk more about this tomorrow in depth, obviously previewing the SEC championship game, but we'll give you a little bit of a taste of what's to come. Looking at this right here, you look at Bama that just played Auburn. Obviously, Iron Bowl can be very tricky, especially at Jordan-Hare where it was. Played them. It was a very interesting game nonetheless. You'll hear more about it tomorrow. Don't want to give everything away, guys. It's going to be interesting. And, I think you look at the situation that Georgia's in right now, game plan-wise, I think Bama fits into what Georgia needs to do to win this game. Like I said, I'm not going to give everything away. But it's going to be an interesting game nonetheless Saturday in the Benz, 4 p.m. Juan, obviously, looking at the situation here, we got Facebook users saying, howdy, Robert and Juan. Eyes on the road, Juan. He's in his car right now. But nonetheless, I think he stopped, whoever said that. But let's do this real fast. Look, just want to say, obviously, catching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Daily Motion. We are on about 30 different platforms right now, different locations, destinations, as it's called. And that's brought to you by the Y'all's Conference Network. You're going to look, if you're familiar with the channel here, you'll understand that you're starting to see different teams around the SEC, different content outside of just the DGD podcast. That's brought to you basically, this is all for the viewers. This is not for podcast listeners. Obviously catching on the YouTube channels, things like that. You're starting to see Ole Miss content. You're starting to see, Alabama content. That's brought to you by the Y'all's Conference Network, YCN for short. So you'll just remember, if I say YCN, that's what I'm talking about. So thank you, everybody. Obviously, thanks to Y'all's Conference Network for having the DGD podcast, being a part of that family, and everybody watching, wherever you're watching from. Hope you enjoyed today's show and more to come. Let's jump in to this Georgia Tech review. we're going to keep it short. First off, it was an ass whipping. We knew it was coming. Knew it was an ass whipping. I think me and Juan both called no points. I maybe a bit messed up and gave the benefit of a doubt for 3. I was proven wrong. We'll go Juan first, and then we'll jump to KTG. What are your thoughts on that takeaways for that game?
You know what? Just Georgia not playing down to their competition. That was something that historically we've dealt with, going all the way back to the Mark Richt days, Jim Donnan days, Grey Golf. I mean, it's just historically Georgia's played down to their competition. This was a trap game in a sense of, hey, are they going to come out flat and not do what they're supposed to do? Every game, all 12 games, 12-0, there's not been a game that Georgia's played down to their competition. They have dominated from the very first snap to the end of the game. That speaks volumes going into this game on Saturday. Georgia Tech is they're in some bad shape, man. They're in some bad shape right now. They are getting some pretty good recruits. You're going to have that washout from Paul Johnson. So not to say, they'll probably be decent in a couple of years, but Georgia was just completely dominant in this football game.
Caleb, what about you, buddy? What is your takeaways?
Simple. I mean, I was one touchdown off the score. I said 52-0. It was 45-0. But honestly, I'm not going to go deep into it because I know y'all are going to be previewing Alabama and Georgia. But this year, it seems like the tide, pun intended, the tide has turned. They've been the one that's played more down to their competition, like we have been known to do, and we've done what Alabama usually does and just rip through everybody. So that's why I think this Georgia team's different. They seem locked in, and they just take care of business. And I see them doing that from here on out. I mean, it is what it is. We're the best team in the nation, and we showed it for 12 games, period.
No doubt. And obviously, guys, we're going to talk more about this, obviously, in the regular season review just after this. But I've got one statement. We are who we thought they were. Or they are who we thought they were. If you remember that, you know what I'm talking about.
And we let them slip.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just telling you right now. We knew they were bad, and we showed exactly what we needed to do. Georgia did exactly what we needed to do per what Juan said. You can say that for both sides, right? We knew Georgia was the dominant team. They were going to come in and dominate, and Georgia did. Georgia Tech didn't score any points. Now, to their credit, they were able to move the ball efficiently sometimes, but it's still they shot themselves in the foot and got themselves out of field goal range or anything like that, or out of the opportunity to score points. And the score reflects that. Look, Georgia Tech in the last 2 weeks with Notre Dame and Georgia combined 100-0. 100-0. They gave up 100 points, guys, and did not score a thing. That is terrible, right? That's absolutely terrible. And it's showing because you have their best player, and honestly, anybody in the country better go after this guy. Gibbs, right, their running back, just entered the portal. I hope Georgia goes after him because, first off, it's a slap in the face of Jeff Collins down there. My man looking like Uncle Lou on Christmas Vacation with that damn hairdo. That's just terrible. And second off, to me, it's just one of those things where he's just a great player. And you look at what Georgia's about to lose, especially with the running back situation. James Cook has stood out and separated himself from what he was last year. And we're going to lose him, obviously. I want to retain some of that, what he brings to the table. Jahmyr Gibbs is that, and maybe even better. And if Georgia can go after that kind of player and get them, especially right in your backyard, why would you not do it? The only reason why he wouldn't do it is if he really hates Georgia that much. But when we watched Bobby Dodd Stadium, that bitch was a sea of red. I didn't see any Georgia Tech fans. I saw a little to the point where the players, the seniors were pissed off because it was just a sea of red.
Yeah, my brother went to the game. He said it was about 90% Georgia.
That's about expected. Look, that is just Athens West. All right? That is just Athens West. Juan, you know exactly what I'm talking about because you played in those games. I don't think it's ever changed. I mean, it may have when you had guys like Calvin Johnson there, when Georgia Tech was actually ranked, sure. But right now, with how bad that program is, I knew damn well, hell, I'd be surprised to see any gold at that point. Any gold. But I want to go back to this. I want to go back to this game, and I want to give out game balls. Obviously, doing our little. Can anybody see this shit? But anyways, if Juan, I want to give you a chance here. Who's your game ball? Who are you giving your game ball to?
You know what? I like to stick with Stetson Bennett. I mean, he's been consistent. He has led us to all of these victories, despite. I mean, there's so much noise on the internet, on these groups that JT Daniels, and for him to know that he's not that guy that everybody wants. He's not that hometown hero, and they'd rather see JT Daniels. He doesn't care, man. He cares so much about this program. He cares so much about the Bulldogs that he will do any and everything to make sure that they're successful. It takes a strong person to do that. And so he's going to get my game ball because he goes out there and he performs. And if you actually look at his numbers, they're not super duper flashy, but they're consistent, man. They're consistent. They're what you want as a quarterback. And if you're a coach. And so he will get my game ball. I love him to death.
Caleb, who's getting your game ball, my man?
I'm going to keep mine short and simple. He wasn't a standout. He didn't do much, but just to see Mr. George Pickens back on the field, catching passes, man. Give it to Georgie. Give it to Georgie, and that's all I'm going to say about it, man. I still don't think he's going to be a big part of it next week, but come time he gets back into shape, he's going to be a threat in the playoffs. So I'm going to give my game ball to George Pickens, man. Just to see him back out there made me happy. With
the stat line of 1 catch for not even a first down, that's a good game ball. Just going to say,
yes, sir.
Look, it's been a long time coming. I'm going to get to my game ball in just a second, but I do want to talk about this because Georgia fans we've been waiting a very, very long time to see my man get out back on the field. And you heard it as soon as he walked out. He didn't even do nothing.
Yeah.
The place went ballistic, and rightfully so. But you know what that tells me? There's more to it. Just seeing him on the field. All he had to do was make 1 catch. You know what that tells me?
What's that?
Bama's going to have even more fun trying to game plan against this offense. It makes it that much more of a question mark. Right? Just saying.
Yeah.
It's going to make it that much more interesting. Because he brings, he may not be 100% healthy right now. I think he's close, right? I think he's more than good there. But
I don't know. When he was celebrating in the end zone, he looked pretty healthy. When Kenny McIntosh scored, he was jumping.
I'm telling you right now, I'm going to make this prediction, and I'm going to give you a little teaser for what we're going to do tomorrow, Juan. Watch George Pickens get a few catches based off of creating separation alone Saturday. He's going to do them comeback routes, and he's going to burn them DBs a little bit. Not burn them deep, but he's going to create a ton of separation. In my opinion, that's one of his best features outside of 50-50 balls is creating separation. He has an excellent comeback game. Now, confidence is going to be the key here with that ACL coming off that ACL injury. Confidence is going to be key. Juan, as a receiver, you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But if he's able to create that separation just one time.
Yeah.
We know Pickens.
But the dog in him has him wanting to come back out. He's not going to play timid. He's been looking forward to this opportunity just to get out there. But just like we talked about it on our last podcast, I said, even if you just put George Pickens out there, that's going to give Alabama a nightmare to try to defend. I mean, it's already, you're looking at Bowers and everybody else, but then you've got him out there too. Now, I mean, they're going to be in trouble. I mean, and this is a team that's given up, 30-something points to not a very good Florida team. So it's going to be exciting.
No doubt. Before I get to my game ball, I know I've been postponing this thing. I forgot one. Last week was Thanksgiving, right? We did a special show Wednesday for Thanksgiving. And Joel Sanders from the brigade called us out. Not to be rude and interrupt, but I know I won the Rate My Plate challenge. Just saying. So I'm just saying, look, I'm telling you right now, if for those that are just watching and didn't see this, guys, Wednesday I was talking about, for Thanksgiving, post your picture of your plate, right? Your Thanksgiving Day plate, hashtag Rate My Plate, and tag us in it, and we're gonna give a rating. Joe had a 9. All right, that's solid right there. I think the only thing that separated was it looked so good, but it didn't have mac and cheese on it. If it had mac and cheese on it, I might have gave it a damn 9.5, maybe.
Yeah, that's yeah.
But I mean, look, I'm just saying. Okay, so I
gave
her the offer.
Not having mac and cheese.
Oh, dude, I had mac and cheese and candied yams and I'm telling you right now, boy, I had to wear some sweatpants because you know how it is, man. Belly gets a little bit big, right? Like, I'm just saying. So obviously, guys, for those who are tuning in, if you watched Wednesday, hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving. I did. I hope everybody else did as well. But moving on, my game ball, Brock Bowers. 2 touchdowns. And you know what else he did? He slapped the people that chose the Mackey Award finalists in the face. He did. I mean, you snub them out of the finalists, and then you go out and throw 2 touchdowns. Or get 2 touchdowns. And his touchdowns look awesome at that. Right? That touchdown in the end zone, that one tap, I'm telling you, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. That's got to be the game ball for me. I love it because I don't think it's petty, but I think it's just making a statement. Making a statement like, you want to sleep on me? Nah, fam. I'm gonna make you pay. I love it. But
I actually think the more impressive touchdown was the long one. I mean, did you see how he split 4 people in a blur?
Yeah.
Look, I'm telling you right now, that was my favorite touchdown all damn game.
Not all season.
Look, I'm just saying. To the speed, right? That dude is a tight end, running speeds like you see, like on a breakaway. Like, I don't know who would be good. Was it Tavon Alston? Maybe a good example, right? My man just split through 4 defenders like it was nothing. Now, maybe that's just because it's Georgia Tech, but I'm telling you right now, my man's fast. My man is absolutely fast. Now, obviously, when you look at Bama, I don't see him doing that against Bama, but I will say this: he's going to be a problem. Him and Bowers. Him and Washington, my fault. That ought to be a problem, especially in that linebacker core. I'm just saying that's going to be a problem. But
what are you going to do with Bowers when you have to deal with George Pickens? And you have to deal with Darnell. You also have to deal with those backs, and you got Cook coming out of the backfield. Man, what a great position to be in, and what a tough position for Alabama. But this is what we've been wanting and looking forward to for a long, long time.
I'm standing there. What do y'all think about this? 12 personnel, right? 12 personnel. Bowers, Washington, on each side. You got Pickens, you got Burton, and then you take James Cook out of the backfield, slide him out into the slot on the side of Pickens. Think about that. Think about it. Think about that. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised to see 13 personnel because Fitzpatrick, we're going to show you some love too. You were damn good tight end in your own right. So you deserve some credit too. Just because Bowers is doing what he's doing and everybody's ready to see Darnell break out, don't sleep on Fitzpatrick. 13 personnel could be a thing Saturday. We'll see. We're going to talk more about that tomorrow, though. We're going to talk more about that. Anyways, let's talk about this regular season. Guys, Georgia football made history since 82 or 80. 12-0, man. 12-0. Perfect, unblemished in the regular season. Caleb, what are your takeaways from the 12-0 season? And then we'll jump to Juan and then myself.
Unblemished and not even really close. Really and truly, it's like we were saying earlier, man. We came out, did what we had to do, dominated, didn't leave any question of if we should have won or not. I mean, every game we played, we definitely should have won. And we showed it, man. And the biggest takeaway, obviously, is the historic defense. That's all I can really say. It's been the best defense, they said, statistically since the 93 Florida State team that won the championship as well. And them boys are animals, man. And you got to give shout outs to people like that ain't been talked about, like a Devontae Wyatt, a Jalen Carter, a Trayvon Walker, Nolan Smith. These boys, DK, Keeley, Seen. I mean, they're not even getting talked about. You hear Jordan Davis, you hear Nakobe Dean, but it's a group effort, man. They're all stars, every one of them. Every one of them is going to get an opportunity to play in the NFL. So I just wanted to give them a little love, man, the ones that don't get talked about enough, because I think every single one of them is great in their own way, and they're what gels the defense together. So, I mean, a lot of a lot of people show love to Dean and Davis, but big shout outs to the whole defense, man. And if we win the championship, it's gonna be them winning it. No shade at the offense. I love Stetson, I love Zamir, all of them boys too, but this has probably been the most fun I've had watching the defense, and it's fun that it's on our side. It's fun that it's with the red helmet with the G on it. So that's my biggest takeaway, man. We didn't play down to anybody's level. We just conquered and went about our business. So thank God we're 12-0, and I'm ready.
Absolutely, Mr. Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, and I echo everything that Caleb said. But this is a classic example of offense wins games, defense wins championships. And this is where we are. The heart and soul of this team is the defense. And if you think back to that interview that Kirk Herbstreit did with with those three defensive players, the thing that really stood out is he said, we love each other. We trust each other. We got our backs. And then also too, that you sit there and say, they were basically humbling themselves to say, listen, if Nakobe Dean makes a play, we're running with it. That's it. He's the leader out there, and we're going to go with it. And then that also, just kind of spills over into the offense where they're looking at the defense. If I'm on offense and I see Big Jordan Davis tell me to do something, I'm going to do it. Whether I like it or not, I'm going to have enough respect and enough fear to say I'm going to do it. And there's going to be a reason why they want me to do it. So they trust in the coaches, they trust in each other. And just like Caleb said, this is the most fun I've had watching football. I'm an offensive guy, but I had more fun watching the defense just completely dominate. My favorite was that first drive against Arkansas when they came in there with all that hype, and then all of a sudden, boom! It's like, whoa. It's like, and they were like, hey, I'm ready to bounce up out of here. And they absolutely did. And so, man, it's just been awesome to watch.
I want everybody to listen in. If you're listening, you're watching, listen closely because I'm about to give you my words here. Break them bitches. 12 games, completely dominating and physically breaking people's wills to play. I'm telling you right now, man, it could be argued that Georgia broke several teams this year, just based off of what we saw coming up to play in Georgia and then moving after. I'm telling you right now, it could be arguable that Georgia broke Clemson, Arkansas, Kentucky, definitely broke Florida. The floodgates completely drained out after Georgia played Florida. Now, is this true 100%? No. I get it, right?
It's not
kind of things were down.
True.
But I'm telling you right now, as a Georgia fan, I'll say that shit. I don't care.
It's true.
I just love it. Look, every single game, starting from Clemson and Charlotte, we came out, especially on the defense, dominate. Complete and utter domination. From start to finish, four quarters for 12 games. And the thing about it was, even when we were up, UAB, Georgia Tech, Kentucky, all these games, the games were well out of hand. There was a chip on the shoulder of that defense. It took Kentucky to score their 13 points, right? The 13 points that they had took them till 3 seconds left in the game. And that was because, and it wasn't like we just let them score a garbage time touchdown. They had to earn that. They had to earn it. I'm telling you right now, this season will go down as a historic defense for this Georgia team. And we can look back at 12-0 and be high and mighty and feel high and mighty and all that stuff. But right now, these guys are laser focused on potentially 3 more games. For sure 1, more than likely 2, right? We know it's going to be 2, potentially 3. And in my opinion, I'm going to talk on this behalf because I feel like this is probably what's going to happen. These 12 games don't mean shit if you don't win 3 more games.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't win 3 more games, what will you have proven? Nothing. There's a chip on their shoulder, and it started last year after the bowl game. Unfinished business is what we heard. You saw Jordan Davis. You saw Devontae Wyatt. You saw Zeus. You saw Cook. All these guys started making a comeback. And once that happened right there, my eyes was like, somebody's in trouble because they had the chance to make their money, and they came back because there was a chip on their shoulder and they had something to prove. 12 games in, you've proved almost everything you need to see, except one thing. Get that natty. Get the natty. You got Jordan Davis is third right now, guys. Speaking of, if you haven't voted for Jordan Davis, hashtag JD2NYC, make it happen. Go vote. Go vote. Georgia's Twitter, 1 million follows, guys. 1 million followers. Make it happen. Get him to New York. He may not win the Heisman, but damn it, he needs to be there. He needs to be there. Because honestly, in my opinion, he's the team MVP. From an impact standpoint, there's no question. Now, stats, you can look at Nakobe Dean, things like that. I'm not going to say not. But from a meaning, like from an emotional standpoint, there's no question about it who the unquestioned leader of that team is. It's Jordan Davis. It starts up front with Jordan Davis. Get him to New York. My man deserves the Heisman anyway. This season's been shit anyway for everybody else. Just saying, get him to New York. But, Juan, what was your favorite game? I want to start with this. What was your favorite game from this regular season?
I'll go back to it. Arkansas, man, I'm telling you right there. Arkansas was, they were eight in the country. They were riding high, and everybody was just kind of talking about it. This is just going to be that test game, and then them just absolutely just putting a hammer, just a beat down on Arkansas. And to me, that just was basically saying, hey, letting the country know we're here. This is the 8th team in the country, and this is what we're going to do to the 8th team in the country. Man, that was. And then, of course, then you look at it to see how well Arkansas played against Alabama. So Arkansas was not a bad team. Make no mistake about it. They were not a bad team. We were just dominant. And we did not, and normally a Georgia team, they'll go and historically will struggle. They'll have some issues. But, man, they bounced Arkansas just right out of here. It was awesome. That was my favorite game.
Absolutely. I do want to pause, Caleb, real fast. I got a question in the brigade here. I want to get to it. I want to talk about it. If anybody wants to chime in, guys, let's do this. Obviously, guys, the brigade is our live chat, right? It's our live chat if you're not familiar with it, if you're first time watching. Stacey Blackwood, my man over the Tide Talk podcast, asks, the last several times that have won last several teams that have won a championship were elite at quarterback. Mac, Burrow, Trevor, Tua, Deshaun, all right, the list goes on. Can Georgia break that streak? Stetson's really good, but probably not elite. Stacey, I will answer that first, and guys, feel free to chime in afterwards. I look at what we bring to the table at quarterback. For me, I don't think Stetson needs to be on that elite level that you would hear from like a guy like Trevor Lawrence. That Trevor Lawrence legitimately saved Clemson's hopes because he was just that generational. He was just a generational talent, and he had the best running back in Clemson history with Travis Etienne. Stetson or JT, whoever whatever happens, both guys have a surrounding cast of weapons that Georgia has not had in years past to complement the quarterback play. And also a coordinator that knows how to effectively utilize each and every weapon. Game plan, any game, you can game plan one guy to have a big game, right? It's not just like you're Justin Ross or you're, you look at, obviously like Devontae Smith last year, right? Not saying anything discrediting Mechie or anybody like that, but everybody knew there was that one guy. Georgia has multiple guys that can break out at any time, and you don't know who you have the game plan for everybody. And then you have a defense, and Alabama's had some historic defense too, so I'm not going to slap anything there. But when you add all that together, the coordinators, the coaching staff, everything is just gelling at the right time, and it's been that way, and there's really been hardly any chinks in the armor. You could look at Clemson as being that little, kind of a question mark, right, for sure. To me, I think it gets done, Stacey. I really do. But honestly, let's be honest. And look, Saturday, we're going to find out. We're going to find out what Georgia's capable of. People can say that we haven't played nobody, which I think it's a bunch of bullshit. But I'm just saying, there's no question who you're playing Saturday. And you have to get it done, right? You have to get it done. And we'll find out Saturday. So to answer your question, I think so. but it starts Saturday.
I want to reiterate too, because his next comment said, like it or not, in the modern era of college football, elite offense is more important than an elite defense. I agree with that. I think now offense wins championships. It's been a proven fact. But Stacy, I want you to comment. Name one elite offense this year. Name one. I'll be waiting. So this year,
look, you can say Ohio State.
But they're not going to be in there. I'm saying who's left. They weren't elite either. Honestly, they beat up little teams. They beat up JV schools. I ain't worried about them. I'm waiting on an elite offense. So this year, the elite defense is going to be more important. I agree.
I think this year might be the one.
My question would be, how is Stetson different than Greg McElroy or AJ McCarron? I mean, these were not elite quarterbacks. I mean, they were basically, let me just turn around, hand the ball off, let me manage the game. And I honestly believe probably, statistically, Bennett is probably, had probably done a little bit more than they did. Alabama had elite defenses, and they had, great defenses, but they weren't blowing people out like we are. Like, we are blowing people out. And so to say that they are, that they were better than Stetson, I'd have to argue with them. Those were national championship teams. So, that's just my take on it.
No, and Stacy brings up a good point here. He's saying, but that was more than a decade ago when they played. And to that point, the landscape of college football has changed. The perception of what makes a national title winning team has changed, because not even a decade ago. You look back 6-7 years ago, 2015 Alabama, elite defense, stable of running backs, right? We saw it from at least right there and back, right? It could be even sooner than that. Yeah. One thing about this year that really separates a national title winning team from everybody else, efficiency. Yeah. Bama and Georgia both are in the top 10 in efficiency. After the Auburn game, I'm not entirely sure, but I know leading up to that game, they were both top 10 in efficiency, offense and defense. So to me, this year's been a telltale sign of who's the most efficient, who can be the most efficient on a consistent basis. Right. And honestly, it's going to be interesting to see, because you're going to see, what happens, elite defense, right? I'd say Georgia's on a historic pace at this point. Can Bama score points on Georgia's defense? But also, you can have that question. But I think the bigger question is, can Georgia score on Bama's defense? I think there's going to be a lot of questions answered Saturday.
Yeah, I think they can definitely score on their defense. But, even if you go back a decade ago, what's really different from this Georgia team right now than those Alabama teams a decade ago? There's not a lot of difference. I mean, we're relying on our running game. We're relying on our defense to get us through these games. We just have a little bit more firepower on offense, because we have a Monken. Monken is just, he's phenomenal. And also, too, you have to look at it. Imagine if we did not have all the injuries that we've had throughout the year. I mean, the first couple of games, we didn't have Darnell. And now we're finally getting Pickens back. We're kind of easing them back into it. But we hadn't had a lot of elite players. I mean, Bowers has emerged into somebody elite. But at the beginning of the season, you wouldn't have said he was elite. McConkey, all of these other guys. I mean, we've had, all these guys that had these injuries. We've had all of these issues. And yet we continue to go out there and prove each and every game that, we are that team. We are the top tier team. And again, there's not a lot of difference between this Georgia team and those Alabama teams in the past.
So, to wrap this conversation up, because this is going to be a great discussion for tomorrow, I'm just going to leave it here. Stacy also said, Stacy said Alabama is the only team in the top 10 in total offense and total defense. I'd have to check because I feel like Georgia might be, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't have the stats in front of me.
Not in offense.
It's because our defense sets us up to score so many points. It ain't got nothing to do with. I don't care about total offense. He's talking about efficient offense, and Georgia's one of the top.
But I get that point. But I think in my last comment before we move on to my game of the year, what separates this Alabama Georgia game and what makes a national title winning team, everybody looks at offense and you have to have this explosive offense. You have to have this explosive offense, generational talent. Look at 2019. You could very well argue last year's Alabama offense, right, with 4 NFL receivers. Georgia is winning games and blowing people out, but the perception of it is a lot different. What you're seeing is balance. You're not seeing 80-yard touchdown passes. That's just not what Georgia is about. Georgia's about sitting here being efficient on offense. I understand total efficiency is a lot different here, but the way Georgia's doing offensively, you have your deep shots that hit, right? And I think a lot of that from last year to this year is execution. You see these guys hitting these deep balls that we didn't hit last year. But then you also have the balance to sit there and maul people in the running game. Every running back has their niche. You look at Zeus. Zeus has gotten better out of the backfield, but he's also able to just physically wear you down for 4 quarters. Then you have James Cook, which has gotten a lot better running between the tackles and a little bit outside the tackles, I think, which is better with what he did. But utilizing him in the passing game is the weapon right there. It's just he's a mismatched nightmare, especially if your running back or your linebacker goes out there to try to guard him. It's just over. Georgia is doing things a different way on offense, but it's basically a different formula, proving the same results so far. And like I said, and the key words being so far, because there's potentially 3 games that Georgia has to go through and win. Obviously, you have 1 coming up Saturday. 2, you look at the first game of the playoffs, because I'm telling you right now, Georgia's in the playoffs whether they win or lose. So you have 2 games, more than likely 2 games, and potentially a third. You have to win that one. So I look at it that way. Georgia's producing wins. Regardless of who we're playing. I think it's telling for when we get ready to play teams that we know we're gonna have to score, having the ability to do it. I think that's key.
I want to make one more statement on this, and then we can end it. I know you want to get through, but I'm going to ask you one question. If chalk holds Saturday, you do realize that Georgia will more than likely have the top scoring offense in the playoffs. And everybody plays a lot like Georgia, minus Cincinnati. They like to spread the ball out a little more. But Oklahoma State and Michigan both want to run the ball as well. They play the same way. They're efficient, and they want to play defense. We do it better than them. And if Robinson ain't 100%, Alabama ain't going to stress us either, because we're going to play coverage and send forward because they can't block us. So, Stacey, I get what you're trying to say, but I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you, my man. So we'll see, though.
Stacey, I want this same energy and these same questions tomorrow. I have to move on and talk a little about regular season and then the coaching carousel that we see. But this right here is the perfect discussion I want tomorrow, because look, dawn of the dogs, man. You're playing Bama. Georgia has Bama as a target. I think. And I'll say this before I go to my game of the week. Mark this down, guys. This is my last comment, I promise. The game of the year for Georgia might actually be Bama, because we've had this monkey on our back for years. Since Kirby got here, it's been that same situation. These guys are going to play. They're going to come out. They're going to play. And I think we saw what laser focus was for 12 games so far. I think you're going to see that same thing. Nothing's going to change Saturday. They're going to play. The opponent is a lot better, but the mentality is not going to change. It may be even stronger. But moving on, we were talking about game of the year. Juan called out the Arkansas game. Caleb, what was your game again? I forgot.
I didn't get one, but I'm about to tell you. I hate these bitches. So beating Florida was my favorite game of the year, just because I don't like them. I didn't think we were going to lose to them. I wasn't scared with them. But beating them was fun. All that moral victory they had against Bama, with Emory Jones saying, "Oh yeah, we're definitely going to get a chance to play them again." Nah, I didn't think so. And that was probably my favorite game, just to shut them up for once and for all. They ain't going to beat us for a few years either. So give me the Florida game.
I love it. Juan had to hop off. There is he had to have a business call. So my game of the year, it might be our ugliest game of the year. Clemson. It was the Clemson game. My main reason is because it set the tone defensively. It set the tone. Offensive, obviously, there were some serious questions after that game. But we also knew that going into that game, you were looking at two elite defenses. You look at two defense, like I said, elite defenses, just battling it out, right? And obviously the 10-3 score was telling because a pick six was the only touchdown that separated the score. That right there is a game that you look back to like 2010, 2011, right? 2011 Bama, LSU. Not saying this on that extent, but it had that feel in that game. You knew, like in 2011, Kayla, you may know what I'm talking about. Stacy, if you're still here, I know you know what I'm talking about. That game in the regular season, 9-6. Now, Bama missed a lot of field goals that could have ended that game a lot differently.
5.
But that game was littered with NFL talent on both defenses. It was insane. Not to that extent. Georgia Clemson had that same feel. You had Brazee, Miles Murphy there, Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, Trayvon Walker. List goes on for Georgia. Really, both teams, right? It had that feel to it. Georgia absolutely dominated it on defense. And honestly, it was one of those games where I was sitting on edge the entire game. The entire game. But like I said, it set the tone defensively, and that tone has not changed. If anything, it's gotten better. Now, the level of play, everybody wants to argue that. You know, sure, you're UAB, you're Charleston Southern, whatever. But you look at Arkansas, you look at Kentucky, you know, Florida, we knew was going to be down. Look, I had them finish in 4th, and they're proving me wrong because they're in 6th. Fuck the Gators. But second off, you look at the game, and everybody, you know, it seems like everybody overlooks it because Kentucky was a top 10 team, or I mean, a top 15 team. Arkansas was 8th. You can't discredit what they did prior to, but this is what I said. Georgia broke teams, man. Like it has that feel to it because Clemson goes on to lose 3 games, 2 more after us. Sorry. You know, Florida just derailed. Yeah, Stacy, to add to my comment about the LSU Bama game, if he remembers correctly, in 2011, each team's entire starting defense is on an NFL roster, was on at some point. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That game, if you watched it, I'm telling you, is nasty. It was beautiful to watch if you're a true fan of college football. If you're here for the explosive offensive points, like you know what I mean. That game was not for you. It was not for you. But yeah, and like I said, the whole year Georgia's defense has been suffocating to what Stacy pointed out. It hasn't changed. And I think the Clemson game is my game of the year because it set the tone for what our defense, the expectations, what they were, and the standard that Kirby had put in and what we should expect. Do we have, you know, obviously understanding that you could have some slip-ups, but we haven't saw it so far. Obviously against Bama's defense, maybe, we don't know, right? It's to be determined. But from 12 games in this regular season, our defense has suffocated everybody. When 17 points is the most a team has scored on you, that's saying something. Tennessee fans, that's your moral victory, I understand. But I'm just saying that's crazy to believe that. And you look at Alabama, and I have to do this because the standard is Alabama. And look, Georgia's well on their way to kind of doing the same thing. But everybody, when you think of suffocating defense, it's always Bama's defenses. 2011 defense. 2015 was a good one too. That right there, Georgia's well on their way through 12 games through the entire regular season. Can they finish it out? Can they finish it? I think they can. And it's going to be on the defense. And the defense is ready for that. The defense doesn't matter if it's your 1s, your 2s, your 3s. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Those guys are ready. First off, they're elite talent, deep. They're deep. But they're all ready. They police themselves. The young guys police themselves. So, you know, so things like that right there, the small things can make a great team elite. It can make it elite. Stacy asked, what point total do you think Alabama needs to get to win? That is a question for tomorrow, my man. I want to leave any Bama talk from what we discussed on for tomorrow, because it is going to be juicy tomorrow, Stacy. You'll definitely ask that same question again tomorrow, and you'll get my answer. I've already given enough out here. A little bit of a treat here, pretty much, for people today. Can't give out that right there because we got a lot to talk about tomorrow about Bama. But look, Caleb, I'm going to go ahead and jump in here. We're going to wrap this up for today, guys. We're going to wrap it up for today. Stick around for the Q&A. But if you're not familiar, the DGD podcast is sponsored by La Terrain Watches. Actually got my watch on right now. Can you see that bad bitch? There we go. Got it on right now. Use code DGD at checkout. Get you 10% off your purchase. Doesn't matter the amount of your purchase. Get 10% off. Use code DGD. LaTerrain.com. That is LA-TOURAINE for those listening. Check out DGD 10%. I'm telling you right now, love the watches, everything like that right there. With that being said, Caleb, it was a pleasure having you on, my man. Tell people where they can find you for those listening and watching.
If y'all want to have a lot more talks like this, I'm live on Facebook twice a day at KTG13 TV. We have a lot of debates like this right now. During the day, I'm playing college basketball. At night, I'm playing college football, but it's always college football talk. And y'all come holler at me, man. My birthday's Saturday, actually, for the game. Y'all want to come wish me happy birthday? Catch me on Facebook, KTG13 TV. And like I said, we talk a lot. It's a little more toxic on that side of it because we're actually pretty engaging over there. I mean, this is a straight podcast. That's me talking shit. That's what I do over there. So if y'all enjoy the talk like this, man, catch Robert over there too. Robert's always in the chat chalking it up. So come check us out on Facebook Live, Facebook Gaming at KTG13 TV.
There you go. All right, guys. Remember, stay tuned for tomorrow because it's all SEC championship game. We've got a special guest coming in, my friend. He hosts a Oklahoma. Wow, I'm all over the fucking place. Oklahoma podcast, guys. We're talking about the coaching carousel now, but I want to get from an insider over there that deals with the Sooners. I want to hear what's going on because if you don't know what I'm talking about, Lincoln Riley royally fucked the Sooners. We'll talk more about that too. Definitely want to stick around. We'll talk a little bit about the coaching carousel and Q&A. Give it a little bit of a hint there. But for the podcast, guys, that is all we have. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, wherever you get your podcast. Check out Facebook Gaming KTG13. Have a great day and stay tuned for tomorrow. Go Dogs.
I still remember like yesterday walking out of this pitch at the half. The look and the feeling I had, looking at Tyson, looking at Stokes, looking at those guys. You know what, guys? This is our fucking year. This is our fucking year. We do it by how we play. It's 0 to fucking 0, and you make them never want to play again. All that shit they're talking, I love it, Jamar. You didn't say shit. You don't say shit to them. You just laugh and point at the scoreboard. Let me get a picture, JD, pointing at the fucking scoreboard. Don't say shit to their undisciplined ass, because we are disciplined. And our ass still don't take the fucking shit out of them. Physically, I want to break them. I'm talking about fucking break these bitches on defense and offense. Let's go, defense.
All right, guys, we're back for the Q&A. I'm telling you right now, Caleb, that halftime, I'm telling you right now, I have to play it every episode. That's a tradition now for the show because that shit will just get you hyped up for anything. Oh, you got to go do some yard work? Listen to that. It'll make you do that yard work in 30 minutes or less, guaranteed, or your money back.
Yeah, I need that clip for the KTG show.
I'm just saying, I love doing that. I love it because that's what separates, Kirby from a lot of other coaches, man. That fucking tenacity that he has, that for the passion, the emotion invested into it, man. Like that's what I love about Kirby. But guys, Brigade, get your questions in. We're gonna start talking here for about maybe 5-10 minutes or so. I know Caleb, you actually got a stream after this, so we'll try to keep it short and sweet. Coaching carousel, man. Obviously, if you don't know, it all started. It seemed like Lincoln Riley dishing those Sooners, saying "See you later, Sooners." Goes over to USC, right? Brings brings that offense and everything and that moxie and charisma and whatever you want to fucking call it, brings it over to the Pac-12, makes the Pac-12 somewhat relevant because they're in the media finally outside of Oregon. But then you look around, right? LSU's had their coaching search. They bring in Brian Kelly, which in my opinion is probably the best hire name to LSU. And that right there, and I'll explain why I think that's going to be a good one. But then Florida also gets their guy, Billy Napier, coach out of Louisiana, Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns. I'll tell you right now, we'll start with Billy Bob down there in Gainesville. I'm telling you right now, first off, they upgraded when it comes to recruiting because anything is an upgrade at recruiting when you let go Dan Mullen. Chris McClellan commits to Florida when they don't even have a head coach. That just tells you something.
Yeah.
It tells you something. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think they're going to get better. I think they're going to get better recruiting. But I need to see what happens on the field production. Is it a true culture change? Because when Mullen was there, guys were lazy. They gave up on plays. Brent Cox. Looking at things like that, right? Does the culture change? You need that culture change. You do. To be successful, to contend in the East, especially with where Georgia is right now, you better have a culture change. You better recruit your ass off because you're going to need every ounce of energy to recruit and play to get on Georgia's level right now from where you are right now.
I'm kind of scared for old Billy Boy, though, because it looks like Florida State's having that culture change at the moment, and they're going to have to battle with us and them because Florida State's bringing in a good recruiting class as well, and Billy's going to have a problem with them and Georgia and Alabama and Clemson taking people out of Florida. Miami, they're irrelevant. Never heard of them, but it's crazy, man. It's just I don't see Florida coming to the top anytime soon. They're still going to have their struggles, and I think he's a good coach. He had Louisiana. I mean, they whipped up Iowa State last year. He's a good coach, but
I think it was.
Yeah, he's a good coach, but I don't know anybody right now that you could hire at Florida that would just immediately bring them back. They have talent, sure, but they ain't on Georgia's level, and they may look up in a year or two and be below Florida State as well. So that's something to watch out for.
I mean, look, you're down in South Georgia, so you know exactly what the hell you talk about when it comes to Florida State. Look, Norvell's got that team on a different level now. You could say from a production standpoint, there's been some games where they shouldn't have lost and they did.
Yeah.
But you also have to understand first year things can happen, right? You're
Well,
trying
it was the second year, but I mean,
oh, sorry, second, my fault.
it felt like after the Jacksonville State game when they just morally were defeated, and then they went on that 4-game skid and started 0-4. When they beat Syracuse, I know that's not a big win to a lot. It looked like Norvell was kind of coaching a little more. He got a little more aggravated, got a little more intense. So I hate Florida State. I live 45 minutes from their campus, but I think they're trending on the right way. Will they be back anytime soon? Probably not, but I do think they're going in the right direction.
Yeah. Now, Facebook user, I don't know who you are, but brings up a comment here. We're still going to get ours out of Florida regardless, especially after this year. Look, Kirby's on that level of recruiting where he can go wherever the hell he fucking wants to go and pick up whoever he wants to get for the most part, right? You still going to have some of these guys, that are locked into other programs for different reasons, whatever the case may be. But I'm telling you right now, I would not put it past Kirby to go up and try to get Travis Hunter. Try to work that flip. Oh, damn well he's trying. I can't blame him. Oh, okay. It's a boy, Hugh Nash. All right, cool. Hugh, welcome. Welcome to the show, sir. But, yeah, no, I think you're right there. Looking at, you can go anywhere you want and pick up a guy. You saw him do it in California, Arizona, Louisiana just recently with Sean Washington, Alabama. Obviously, he's locking down the state for what it's worth. Obviously, it's impossible to hit that Atlanta area and lock it down. But for the most part, you're keeping the best players in the state at home. For like I said, all of it is just it's variable because of Atlanta, right? It's so big and shit like that. But Kirby's just an elite recruiter, and that's just what it is. So
and like it or not, IMG Academy is basically Georgia's junior college. We run that place. So.
We got Georgia and Bama. Definitely not Florida, right? Even though it's in Florida, everybody understands that IMG is a national kind of thing. It's just located in Florida. Yeah. But that is not an excuse for the Gators, the Canes, the Noles to go in there and pick these guys out. You have to, because IMG produces the best talent in that one program, right? That one school has the best talent in the country almost. So you have to go in there and pick these guys out. And you look at, like you said, Georgia, you're establishing a pipeline already. Bama, same way. You can look at Ohio State and these other elite schools too, doing the same thing. But, noticeably, obviously, we're Georgia's podcast here. So, yeah, Georgia's doing that shit, and you see it. And you can honestly see Kamari Wilson coming too.
Oh, he's coming.
Oh, you know damn well he is. I mean, it'd be different if he doesn't, but I'm just telling you, I think he does. But that's just me. But I think when we go back to the carousel here, I look at my favorite hire was Brian Kelly to LSU, because Brian Kelly is a good coach. Now, what you've seen at Notre Dame, you can bash Notre Dame all you want to, but understand this: when it comes to recruiting, it's a lot harder to recruit guys to Notre Dame. It's just a lot of restrictions that you don't have at a place like LSU. Academic requirements are a lot stricter. You got to play in the cold weather, shit like that. And really, from a recruiting standpoint, from where he is, he's got to fly to every recruit. You go to Louisiana, you throw a damn pebble out there, you hitting a freak ass athlete. All right. So what he's done at Notre Dame is telling, because just imagine what he can do when there's less restrictions. My friend Brooks Austin said this perfectly. At Notre Dame, you said LSU is one of these programs where you just maintain the will and it'll get you where you need to be. Look at Les Miles. Look at Orgeron. Brian Kelly's not those guys, right? He's not that type of person. He's just a guy named Brian. They hired him. But I'm just saying, my man's going to hold that wheel of that brand new car and go, it's run it down. And he going to keep, and I'm paraphrasing Brooks, but he said it perfectly last night on his reviews. He's going to be the guy you're going to expect a lot of wins soon with Brian Kelly. So in my opinion, LSU had a home run hire, getting Brian Kelly from Notre Dame. What's your favorite hire so far out of this carousel?
None of them. You get this 50-50 with Brian Kelly. I didn't like the hire. I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying with the recruiting and the different players he can get, this and that, but I still think he's in game. He still makes some weird decisions that he should have won some games he didn't, including beating Georgia a few times, or once at least. I wasn't a big fan of the Brian Kelly, and I didn't like the Lincoln Riley one. You want me to tell you what's crazy is, call me crazy. A lot of people will, but you know what USC likes? They like Hollywood. They like that Hollywood and coach mixture. You're a down program. They should have got Prime. They should have gave Dion his chance. I think he could have turned him around more than Lincoln Riley. I'm just saying. I don't know why I feel that way, but you think Hollywood. You think a coach is Hollywood. It's Prime. I think they should have gave Prime a chance. Honestly, I'm dead serious. And like I said, call me crazy, but why not? You're not going to win anything. I don't know if Lincoln Riley can build a program. He was gifted a beautiful one.
Let's just say this: LSU could have hired. I'm going to make an analogy that's going to make everybody laugh. I'm just going to let y'all know. Get ready. LSU could have hired a doggy style position, but they hired a missionary. I'm just saying, my man is just so bland. You don't expect LSU to kind of get that, but honestly, maybe it's what they need. Maybe it's what they need. It can get the job done, right? It's not flashy, but it gets the fucking job done, right? I'm just saying, maybe it could be that, but I was expecting something more juicy and flashy, right? Like like you said, perfect example.
Like you said, he may be the guy. I just don't see it yet. He may prove me wrong. I don't see it yet.
I mean, I think he's a consistent coach. He's going to keep that program at the top of the West. I think he's going to be able to recruit better and keep these guys at home. I think you'll see that. But I still think you got to get over Nick Saban. You got to get over Jimbo. Can he do that? Right? You're in the SEC West. That's the toughest division in the all of the country. He wants to challenge himself. Damn, he got a damn good job to do that.
I think really the best coaching move was outside of the carousel was Michigan State locking up Mel Tucker.
I agree.
That was the best move.
Absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with that. I see outside of that, but all eyes are on Oklahoma right now. There's talks that, and this will be our last one because we've been over an hour now. But, obviously there's talks that you could see Brent Venables there as the head coach. But also a name that Georgia fans might need to keep an eye out for being floated around is potentially Dan Lanning. I could see that being a good hire for Lanning. I think that would be a good move for him. It would be okay. Obviously you lose a guy like Lanning. That's hard to deal with. But Georgia's in a place right now where you're almost looking like Bama, where you're expecting to lose guys. What do you got? You have that plan in place after. And I think, honestly, the guy that I don't want to see go anywhere else, Glenn Schumann. Yeah. That's just me. I feel that Venables will probably be the guy there. So I would like to keep Lanning there. I don't see, there's, Duke. Duke let go of Cutcliffe up there. I just don't see Lanning taking that job, right? I don't see that happening. I think Lanning is going to do somewhat similar to Venables, is hold out. You're in one of the best position, you're a DC at one of the best programs in the country, elite recruiting consistently. Why leave unless it's a big time fucking job? Oklahoma would be that job, but if he doesn't go there, then you just sit there and wait it out because you're going to get money, right? You can use that leverage to keep getting increases. Georgia has already shown that they're going to pay these guys to stick around, so be it. Keep them there, and I'm just saying, hold out. If he doesn't go to Oklahoma, I'm sure later on down the road you're going to see a huge job opening up. Could Lanning pop into one of those? Absolutely. I think it'll come in a matter of time. With that said, look, I want to get your final thoughts on the Oklahoma job real fast, and then we're going to wrap it up.
I'm with you. I think they're wanting Venables. I think Venables may take that one, and or Bob Stoops, one of the two. I think it's going to be one of those two. And I don't know how the Bob Stoops thing is going to work out. But if I had to bet in Vegas, give me Venables.
For my Oklahoma guys, I'm hearing Venables a lot. It's almost a lock almost. There is that chance, and rumors have been talked about Lanning. There was a good debate. Look, if you don't have Twitter, I highly suggest you download it. Come follow us. We talk in like there's Twitter spaces. It's basically everybody comes in, hangs out. You can talk amongst everybody. You will find. Now, I'm not saying that it's 100% accurate. It's definitely fucking entertaining. But you'll hear some of this information. Hear that there. Like I said, it's not 100% accurate. You'll understand if you ever get in there, but it's definitely entertainment. Oklahoma fans, and I'll tell you this, Oklahoma fans have been sweating a little bit since Lincoln left, trying to make sure they get the right guy. Now, they're confident because Stoops is there, and Stoops is a great placeholder. Obviously not the guy, right? You need to make that hire. We'll have to see what happens. On that note, though, Caleb, like I said, man, thanks for sticking around. I know you getting ready to go stream, so I'll be watching out for that. Everybody, if you're watching still, go on Facebook. Check out Facebook Gaming, KTG13. Search for them. Hop up in there and tell them guys, go Dogs, and fuck your team, right? Tell them fuck your team, whether it's Auburn, Bama, whoever. I don't care. Tell them fuck your team, go Dogs. Let's have a great day. Catch up to you tomorrow, same time. Caleb, go Dogs, my man.
Go Dogs. Thank you for having me, bro.
Yes, sir. Have a great day, everybody.
See you.